Today we are doing sulfuric acid, H2SO4. First point is sulfuric acid is also called oil of vitriol. Oil of vitriol. Oil of vitriol. What are vitriols? Vitriols are crystalline salts, crystalline hydrated salts. They contain water molecule in the form of crystal, definite number of water molecules. So I'm just giving information like FeSO4.7H2O is called green vitriol. Green vitriol. CuSO4.5H2 is called blue vitriol. Blue vitriol. Then we have MgSO4.7H2O is called white vitriol. White vitriol. These are three types of vitriol. Why it is called oil of vitriol, the sulfuric acid? Because when this was distillated, that means when we do the distillation of green vitriol, you will get the sulfuric acid. Because here see in the formula H2SO4 is coming. So H2SO4 was initially prepared by distillation of green vitriol. That's why the name is given oil of vitriol. And why it is called oil? The reason is because sulfuric acid is oily dense liquid. It is like oil type, oil. So that is why it is called oil of vitriol. The important one is that. Now the second point we have written, how can we prepare sulfuric acid in the laboratory or generally? What is the method of this preparation? So we prepare sulfuric acid by this reaction. I think this reaction you know, you have done in the nitric acid chapter, but once again you learn it. Sulfur plus HNO3, when we heat, it will give H2SO4 plus H2O plus NO2. And if you remember the balancing number, I have done the same reaction. This was concentrated with carbon I did, with sulfur I did, and with phosphorus. And I told you with carbon we write 4, carbon 4, sulfur 6, phosphorus 5. So here it is sulfur, so I am writing 6 over here. Now I am balancing. Now 6H, you have to put 2 over here. 2 to the 4 to the becomes 6. 6N is coming, so you have to put 6. It's all balanced. This is the method of the preparation of sulfuric acid. Lab method, laboratory method. Look at this. In this case, we are making sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is a less volatile acid from a more volatile acid. Write down a reaction in which less volatile acid is prepared from more volatile acid. This reaction will give. This is a more volatile acid. From this we are preparing less volatile acid. If question comes, can you make more volatile acid from the less volatile acid? That means, can you make HNO3 from H2SO4? That is also possible. And I think you have done it in nitric acid chapter. Let us take H2SO4 concentrated and we have to heat. And here you will be taking NaNO3 or you will be taking KNO3, lighter. Then answer temperature value will be less than 200 degrees Celsius. Your answer will come NaHSO4. If you remember the reaction, NaHSO4 plus HNO3. So these two reactions you have to know in comparison. HNO3 gives H2SO4. Now H2SO4 gives HNO3. So that way the two reactions become important. Comparison. So this is your laboratory method of preparation of sulfuric acid. Now the another method of preparation of sulfuric acid is over here. It is like this. SO2 plus Cl2 plus 2H2O gives H2SO4 plus HCl. This thing is called chlorine water. Okay. When sulfur dioxide is passed through chlorine water, it prepares sulfuric acid. And in this reaction, we see the observation. In this reaction, sulfur dioxide, chlorine water color is green. When sulfur dioxide is passed through the green solution of chlorine water, it turns color, it decolorizes it, forming two acids. And those two acids are colorless. One is sulfuric acid, one is hydrochloric acid. These two acids, H2SO4 and HCl, do not get mixed with one another. Why? What is the reason behind? Because sulfuric acid is dense liquid. It will be right at the bottom of a container. And HCl acid is a lighter acid. So, which one? No, that was your Browning test. Yeah, but here I am talking about H2SO4 and HCl. That was HNO3 and ferrous sulfate was there. But this is a dense liquid, so this will be right at the bottom. And HCl will come on top of it. Means they will not get mixed with one another. Okay. So you can easily get sulfuric acid from, you can separate it. It will be right at the bottom. You can separate it. Okay. The observation is important here. What is the observation? Question becomes, what will you observe when sulfur dioxide is passed through green solution of chlorine water, or when it is passed through chlorine water? You say the green solution of the solution of chlorine water becomes colorless, turns colorless. Sulfur dioxide decolorizes chlorine water. Decolorizing means, like removing the color and making it colorless. That you have to say. Okay, this reaction we take in this manner also we will take it. Just have a look at it. Let us have sulfur dioxide and chlorine. Okay, this reaction they will ask this in this manner also. What happens when sulfur dioxide is passed through moist chlorine? Moist chlorine means chlorine with the moisture, that is water. What will happen? You say it will make two acids, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid it will make. So that answer you can say. What happens when dry sulfur dioxide reacts with moist chlorine? So you say this will happen, they will write this reaction only. Now another one, sulfur dioxide plus chlorine, both of them are dry. This is also dry, this is also dry, without moisture. When they react with one another, what do they make? When these two react together, so they will make SO2Cl2, direct combination reaction will take place. This compound is called sulfuryl chloride. Sulfuryl chloride. SO2Cl2 is called sulfuryl chloride. And this is a red liquid. This is a red color liquid. Red liquid. Color of this SO2Cl2 is red. Okay. This reaction is important in the sense that the two gases are reacting together to form a liquid. Can we have any example where the two gases are reacting together to form a solid? Answer is yes. What is the example? I think you know the example. Ammonia plus hydrogen chloride gas, when they react, they give solid NH4Cl. And there is one more situation, ammonia and chlorine, they also react together to give solid dense white fluid plus nitrogen. But here is the case where two gases are reacting together to form a liquid. This is the answer. Write down a reaction where two gases are reacting together to form a liquid. You will be writing this reaction. Yes? You go out and again log in, join in. Try with that. SO2 plus Cl2 gives SO2Cl2. Sulfur dioxide plus chlorine will react together to give SO2. Direct combination, SO2 will combine with this. Answer will come SO2Cl2. SO2Cl2 is called sulfuryl chloride. Sulfuryl, SULPHURYL. Sulfuryl chloride, which is a red color liquid, red liquid. Okay. Now SO2Cl2, if you take that red liquid, when you add water in it, what will happen? 2H2O when you add, then this will make this thing. This will make H2SO4 plus HCl. In a way, we are taking these two. SO2 Cl2 is taken. SO2 Cl2 is going to make this sulfuric chloride plus 2H2. This gives this. I wrote that way. Instead of writing them separately, I wrote them together. Product of these two, this and then plus 2H2 I did. So your question even may come like this: name a solution that contains two strong acids. Name a solution that contains two strong acids. The answer is this one. This solution, sulfuric chloride solution. Sulfuric chloride solution. Sulfuric chloride solution contains, solution is mixed with water. Then sulfuric chloride solution. Sulfuric chloride when it's mixed with water, it will contain two colorless acids. And what are those two acids? One is sulfuric acid and one is hydrochloric acid. So you have seen the preparation of, this is the lab preparation, this is general preparation of sulfuric acid. Now we are doing the another one that is important, and it is called contact process of manufacture of sulfuric acid. Contact. We can write this manufacture of H2SO4 by contact process. How do we make sulfuric acid? By this process, contact process. You have three processes in your syllabus. One was Haber's process for manufacture of ammonia. You have Ostwald's process for the manufacture of lactic acid, and you have got this one, contact process for H2SO4, for making H2SO4. Manufacture of H2SO4 by contact process. Contact. Okay. It is in the notes also, you can see that. First step is called sulfur burner. First step reaction. Sulfur or pyrite. There are two options, sir. So just now we are doing sulfur burners only. Sulfur burner. Here what happens? Sulfur plus oxygen will react. It will give SO2. First step. Either we will burn sulfur or we burn iron pyrites. Iron pyrites form is FeS2 plus O2. Then this will be the answer Fe2O3 plus SO2. If you are going for this is 11 O2, you have to put, then you will be able to balance, and you have to put 2, and later you have to put all that and balance it. 2 to the 4s, you have to put 4. Now it is balanced, you can see. This is called iron pyrites. When you are using either this or this, then it is called sulfur or pyrite burners. But normally we don't go for this one because this is expensive. FeS2. Iron pyrite is an ore of iron. I did not give in the copy because of this reason. Yes. Either of the reactions we will use to make sulfur dioxide. This is simpler one. Okay. Question may come. Name the poisonous gas released in the contact process. The name of the poisonous gas is sulfur dioxide. That is the key point. Okay, now what to do with the second step? The second step is called catalytic chamber. Here we are using catalyst. They will not ask you to write all the reactions together. Write all the reactions from contact process, that they will never ask. They will ask the reaction in bits and parts. Catalytic chamber reaction take this sulfur dioxide will be reacting with oxygen, reversible arrows, and V2O5 below is 450 to 500 degrees Celsius temperature and 1 to 2 atm atmospheres. This will give 2 SO3. You have to put 2, it's all balanced. This is called sulfur trioxide. Sulfur dioxide changes into sulfur trioxide, and V2O5 is called vanadium pentoxide. This is the catalyst here. And how much temperature do we maintain? 450 to 500 degrees Celsius. Temperature value is same as your Haber's process. Okay. Temperature condition is same as Habeas process. In Habeas process also the temperature is 450 to 500 degrees Celsius. Yeah, those who cannot hear or cannot see also, please they bear with me today and then they will see the video tomorrow. Okay. Now this reaction is important one. Second reaction. Second step. Yes, I am. What about you? Okay, now please come back to the this one. Second step reaction. Okay. Are you ready? What is the catalyst we are using out here? The answer is V2O5. That is vanadium pentoxide. This catalyst is used along with the promoter. Here also we have a promoter. Promoter is K2O, potassium oxide. If you remember, in Habeas process we use the promoter molybdenum. In Habeas process the promoter used was molybdenum, and that time we used iron. Iron was a catalyst. When a metal is a catalyst, we should use a metal promoter, that is molybdenum. But here we are using something oxide, metal oxide. You must use an oxide promoter, that is potassium oxide. We can even use molybdenum oxide, MO also you can use. So either of this you can suggest as promoter. And this reaction is reversible and exothermic, like Habeas process one. So only initial heating is done. The heat generated by the reaction will maintain the necessary temperature. Okay, what is the name of the catalyst used in the contact process? Name of the catalyst is V2O5, vanadium pentoxide, and this catalyst is preferred to platinum. Why? Because platinum is very expensive and this is much cheaper, and this is less susceptible to impurities, that is, it is less prone to impurities. It has tendency to catch less amount of impurities as compared to platinum. So this is the reason why we use vanadium pentoxide as catalyst. Okay, now the third step is important. Second step and third step reaction. The first step is there, that's why I gave, but it is not very important. Only you have to know the poisonous gas released in the contact process. The poisonous gas is sulfur dioxide. Third step reaction is highly important. Okay. Now before that I will tell you third step is that sulfur trioxide plus H2SO4 concentrated, it will give H2S2O7. This is called oleum, oleum, or pyrosulfuric acid. This is called oleum or pyrosulfuric acid. Okay. Now when we add water to it, H2S2O7, when you add water, then you will get 2H2SO4. This is the sulfuric acid prepared. Now another important thing about this step 3. When we dissolve nitrogen dioxide in water, NO2 in water, we get nitric acid. When we dissolve carbon dioxide in water, we get carbonic acid. When we dissolve phosphorus pentoxide in water, we get phosphoric acid. If we dissolve, say for example, sulfur dioxide in water, what do we get? If we will dissolve sulfur dioxide in water, what we will get? Tell me any. Sulfur dioxide, most of the students they will think, oh, that CO2 giving some carbon dioxide, NO2 is giving nitric acid. Many of the students they will think sulfur dioxide when we dissolve in water, it will give sulfuric acid. but that is not the reality. It gives H2SO3. O2 plus O combined together become H2SO3. This is called sulfurous acid. Name the acid formed when sulfur dioxide is dissolved in water. The answer is sulfurous acid, not the sulfuric acid. Answer is
H2SO3 and sulfurous.
H2
SO3.
H2SO3. Sorry, H2SO3. Yeah. No, yeah. H2SO3. This is not H2SO2. H2SO3. This is called sulfurous acid. If I dissolve SO3 in water, sulfur trioxide in water, now I will get H2SO4. 3 plus 1 become 4. That means dissolving what oxide in water, we get sulfuric acid, sulfur trioxide, not the sulfur dioxide, remember. This reaction is possible, but here we avoid this reaction. We do not dissolve sulfur dioxide directly in water to get sulfuric acid on an industrial scale, on manufacturing scale. Means on a large scale we cannot dissolve. The reason is because this reaction is highly exothermic, which results in the formation of dense fog of sulfuric acid particle, which do not condense easily. They will be in the vapor form in the fog. So how to condense them, how to pack them in the container and all, it will be very difficult. So direct dissolution of SO3 in water is avoided for this reason. So instead what do we do? Instead of it, we dissolve SO3 in concentrated sulfuric acid. This concentrated sulfuric acid, what we prepare by the lab method in a small quantity, we dissolve in that to make H2H2O7. That means we go for the preparation of oleum instead of dissolving directly and getting sulfuric acid. Though it gives in small quantity, this reaction is okay, but on large quantity, on the industrial level, we cannot have this reaction because of reaction is highly exothermic and result in the formation of dense fog of sulfuric acid particles which do not condense easily. Very often the question comes, why sulfur trioxide is not directly dissolved in water? We say because of the dense fog which do not condense easily. So instead what is done? We say instead it is dissolved in water to give oleum. And when we add calculated amount of water, we get the sulfuric acid of desired concentration. If we add little bit of water, you get concentrated acid. If you add more water, you will get dilute acids. So this is how the sulfuric acid is industrially manufactured by contact process. Catalyst is important, promoter is important, temperature condition is important, and this reaction is important. We are going for the preparation of oleum. There is a specific reason, a special reason for it, and the reason is that if we don't do it, then we have to dissolve sulfur trioxide directly in water, and then there will be dense fog of sulfuric acid particles which do not condense easily. So that means the sulfuric acid will be in the form of vapor, in the form of fog in that case. Okay, now another thing to understand, if we are having a dilute acid, how to concentrate it? We have to boil, we have to heat. Yeah. When you heat it, when you boil it, the water will go out and acid remains as it is. So it is becoming concentrated. But now the question is, if you are having a concentrated acid, how to dilute? Having a concentrated acid, how to dilute? Any suggestion? No. We are having concentrated acid. Already acid is concentrated. Now we want to make it dilute. What should we do? Say. Now the choice. Okay. Whether you add water in the acid or acid in water, what will you do? You will be adding acid in water or water in the acid? That is the question. The answer is you have to add acid in water. Don't add water in the acid. If you do so, then what will be the problem? I will tell you about that. Suppose in a container we are having sulfuric acid, concentrated one. This is concentrated. Concentrated H2SO4 is there. And we have another container in which water is there. Water. This is containing water. Okay. We do like this. This one will be inverting over like this. Little bit of acid will pour in the water and will be stirring it. Because as concentrated sulfuric acid you pour over water, no, the reaction is exothermic, it gets heated up. And you have to distribute the heat throughout the mass of the water. And water has high specific heat capacity, will be able, its larger mass will be able to absorb the heat generated, whatever heat is generated in the reaction. But if you do the opposite, if you do like this, if you do like this way if you do, the problem will be what? Water, again the reaction is exothermic, heat is generated, but the heat generated will not be absorbed by concentrated sulfuric acid, because concentrated sulfuric acid has less value of specific heat capacity. It has less ability of absorbing heat. As a result, what will happen? The acid out here in the container will be spurt out. We use the word spurt out. Spurt out. Spurt out means it will be splashing out. Due to highly exothermic reaction, as the heat generated by the reactions will not be uniformly distributed throughout the mass of the sulfuric acid. That will cause spurting of the acid, and acid is quite dangerous. So this is the reason why acid is added in little quantity to the water, and the heat generated is distributed over the entire mass of the water so that the water absorbs it easily. So again we have to wait for some time, again add little bit more acid and then stir it. Again keep on adding little more acid and stir it and just wait for some time. Then only slowly this water will change into dilute sulfuric acid. So they will be asking this question. In order to dilute an acid, particularly the sulfuric acid, why water is not added to the acid, rather the acid is added to the water. Because water in the bulk, water is in the larger quantity, will be able to digest the heat generated, as the water has high specific heat capacity. That we will do in physics also. So because of that, water will be able to absorb the heat. And that heat we have to distribute by stirring it throughout the mass of the water. Little bit of acid you pour and then stir it. Little bit acid you pour and stir it. Slowly. You have to wait for some time for the water to cool. And then again you add acid, the water will to cool, you have to wait for some time. Slowly this water will change into the acid, and that acid will be your dilute acid. So till here today we do, and tomorrow we will be doing the properties of H2SO4. Tomorrow the chapter will go over. Hope that there will be no problem from tomorrow onwards.